Hey guys, I want to show you how to use either Google Sheets or Excel. They both work basically the same way, just a couple different little tabs or something like that are slightly different. Um, what I've done here is I've just set some stuff up, just basic fake data that we're going to look at, and you'll be able to use the same set kind of system when you're doing your labs. So the first thing I do is I put whatever I'm going to put on my y-axis in the first column, whatever I'm going to put on my x-axis in the second column. Okay. Now this one, distance, all right, divided by time is velocity, right? So this would be y divided by x. Okay. But we're not going to worry about that. So I just distance meters times seconds, velocities meters per second. And if you notice, it's kind of not the most pretty. It's kind of all over the place. So if I hit this over here, all right, everything darkens up, and I can go to format, and I can go to align, and I can just hit center, and it cleans it right up nicely. Okay, now if I want to calculate the velocity, all right, in order to calculate velocity, you can't use one point. All right, you need to basically, what you're doing is you're finding the slope. So in order to do it, you're going to go 1 over minus 1 under and then divide by that. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Whenever you're using Sheets or Excel, in order to write a formula, okay, you're going to put an equal sign in, all right? And the equal sign tells the computer that you're going to write a formula. And then all you have to do is just click on cells, and it will automatically do what you need to do. So for the first part is I'm going to type in equals, and then I'm going to do an open parenthesis. And I'm going to click on the 6, and if you see, A7 appears. And I'm going to go minus 2, close parenthesis. The divide symbol is backslash. Then I will do open parenthesis, and I'll do 3 minus 1. And you can see it referred to each individual cell, A7 minus A5 divided by B7 minus B5. So when I hit enter, it gives me the slope. It gives me the speed at this point using the point above and below. This is the correct way of doing it. If I just did it with one individual thing, it might come out to be the same, it might not. But what it's doing is it's allocating it based on your data. And then this is cool. All right, so watch this. So I click on my cell and see a little dot here. Watch what happens when I get real close to it. See, it turns into a plus sign. And I click on it and I drag it down to there. And what it did is it just calculated all of the velocities for that part. Now, when we do this, the first data point and the last data point we don't use, okay? Because we want 1 over and 1 under, right? So like for 7 seconds, I use 16 and 12. And if I click on it and I look up here, it's A12 minus A10 minus B12 minus B10. All right. So when you drag it down like that by hitting that little button and pulling it, it actually will adjust the formula all the way down. Okay. So which comes out really handy when you're doing lots of data. Okay, which you'll be doing this year. All right. So now we've got a distance versus time, and we have velocity. Now, the thing that you're going to have to do on every single lab is you're going to be doing graphs. Okay. So the first thing we want to do is we want to do a distance versus time graph. And you always start with what's on the y-axis. And you just drag, you click on the 2, and you drag down to 16 so it all gets all dark. And then you go to insert, and you go to chart, and you look for it to pop up. I'm using a Chromebook. Very slow. Here we go. And if you look, see the chart type is called scatter. Now, if you're using Excel, your charts are going to be right up. When I go to insert, it's going to actually show you this chart up there. Okay, and you always use what they call a scatter chart. Okay, and you can click on it and you can pull down. Let me move my face out of the way. And when I pull down, all right, it shows you the data range. Okay. Now, if you notice, see this series here? It says A5 through A12. Okay. The x-axis, it says add x-axis. So we have to click on the add x-axis. And then we will go over here and we'll drag this down. And that didn't work. Let me try that again. I click on this and hit this button. Let me move this out of here. All right. Click on that. Edit chart. Here, x-axis. Add x-axis. Oh, that's what I have to do. I have to hit this button here. See right here? That's why I couldn't see because my face was covering it. So I hit that, and then I drag that down, and you can see it says B5 to B12. I say OK. I'm good. All right. So now it's graphed my distance and my time. Okay. Now this is the nice thing about using Google Sheets is basically what you're going to do is you go to customize. Once you have your, and this is a part that everyone made mistakes. They don't hit the x-axis. They just plot the y-axis, and it looks almost the same, but it's going to mess up your numbers. So you go to customize, all right, and then you go to chart axes and titles, chart title, all right. I will click on that, and I will call it distance, and in parentheses, meters. And then I scroll down. That's the chart title. Now I want the horizontal axis title, and that will be time. And that's seconds. I'm sorry, I changed. Chart title is supposed to be distance versus time. My bad. And then the y-axis, the vertical axis, that's going to be distance. All right. Okay, so you can go up here, you go to the chart title, distance versus time. Click on horizontal axis, time. And vertical axis, distance. Okay. You can change your color, you can change your font, bold, italicized, all this stuff right in this spot. Okay. So we're good here. All right. Next thing I want to do is go to series. All right. And the data series are the blue dots, and that's all good. Now, this is the part. A trend line is what we call a best fit line. Okay. And if I hit trend line, see how it draws a nice best fit line? I now have to go down to where it says label, and I have to put use equation. Okay. And that's done. Legend, we don't need that. Horizontal axes, you can go to horizontal axes here, and you can see how everything's arranged. You can adjust your minimum or maximum. If it's not ending at 0, 0, this is where you would put in a 0. Okay. If it goes way off the top, like if this went up to like 40, but your only data points at 15, you can put maximum value at 20, stuff like that. All right. So that's where that goes. Vertical axis, the same stuff. Guidelines and ticks. You have a bunch of different things you can play around with. You can do minor ticks. See that? So when you're looking at stuff, you can see which ones you want. All right. Minor guidelines. All right. You can do that. Makes it a little bit easier when you're trying to find out, like when you're trying to find maybe the area under the curve or something. Okay. Let me get rid of that there. Okay. So you can play around with all this stuff. You can customize it. But this is how you do your graph. Okay. Now what you do, you can just take this and you can drag it over to the side. Okay. When you're writing up your labs, you have to follow the lab write-up procedure, which I gave you as part of the lab course stuff. It tells you like you need to have a title page, you need this, you need that, you need the procedures, you need the data. the graphs, all this stuff. So let's say you're opening a Word document or a Microsoft Google Notes. Put this down here, Google Docs. All right. All you have to do is like, okay, I want to import my data table. You just do that. You highlight it. I hit Control C, which is copy, and then I open it. I hit paste, and it goes right in there. For my graph, I click on my graph. I hit Control C, and then all I gotta do is just hit paste, and it'll paste it. So boom, there's another one. Okay. If it doesn't fit right when you click on it, all you have to do is right click, and then you can adjust anything on there that you're not happy with while you're actually in Sheets. But when you're in Word, that is where you can adjust the formatting. So like if you wanted to move it to the right side or the left side, or if you wanted the words around it, all those different things. Okay, but I'm expecting that you are going to be able to do the graphs on here. Okay, now I was getting a little carried away, wasn't I? Dink, dink. All right. Wow. All right, there we go. Okay, so, and nice thing about when you use Google Sheets, everything that you type, it's instantly saved to the cloud. So if your computer crashes, you turn it on, you'll be right back where you left off. Okay. And the nice thing also is if you have a lab partner, you can hit the share button and you can share it with them, like your data. And then when it'll help them, like, oh, say, maybe they're having a problem with your lab, and you can actually share it with them, and they can see what you did. They can click on this, and they can say, oh, that's the formula. I typed in the wrong formula. Okay. Now, we also talked about doing LSQs. That's what you're going to be doing on lab number 2. All right. And when you do the LSQ, it's actually kind of nice because you can actually just say, okay, here's my Y, here's my X, this is my XY, and this is my X squared would be caret. All right. You could do that. And then all you have to do is you go, okay, equals, and then you go this, and then multiplication is star, by the way, times that. Boom. And then X is right here. So this would be equals 1 times 1. And then all you do is just grab that and you drag it down. Drag it down. Okay. All right. And then this will do all your stuff. So then all you got to do is just do your slope formula, your M equals your XY squared, blah, 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 blah. That is on that whole LSQ sheet. Okay. So you can actually set all that up. And by putting these little titles up here, I know exactly what you're doing. And if you need to find, like, you have to find the average of all of these. So normally we have 1, 2, 3, we have 8 sets of data. So we would add all this up and divide by 8. You could do that by just hitting, where is it? This right here, this button here, functions, and you can just hit average. Boom. And then you just drag this down here, like that, enter. And the average, this would be your Y average, okay? And then what I usually do is I would say, oh, I'm going to change the color here so I know that it's a little bit different. Or maybe I'll make it bold. There you go, make it bold. And then I could just drag this over like that. That's that average. Just copy and paste it. Copy. Paste. Yep, there you go. See? Now you have your Y average, your X average, your XY average, and your X squared average. And it's all done for you. So then you just put in your formula and you're good to go. The computer is your friend, even though you might not think so sometimes. Okay? All right. I'm good. If you have questions, email me. All right? Watch the video a couple times. Hopefully it'll make a little more sense. I'll be honest with you, by the time you do 2 or 3 graphs on here, you won't even need to refer back to the video. Okay?